Hey boardies, welcome to AmassGames. My name is Simon. Today we're doing a how to set up, play and review for the game Kavango. Now this is the deluxe edition that's coming to Kickstarter, so just be aware that things might change. So you might regard this as a prototype version of the game. Solo stuff I'm not talking about specifically, that's going off to one side, and I will be setting up just one board and as if we were playing it 1 to 2 players. Various stuff in here. This is a game that takes about 90 minutes to play. I've played at various player counts. And each of these boards, as you've seen in my unboxing, teaser, trailer, preview over video, actually shows that they're all unique. So check out that other video as well if you have any questions. This is all about the kind of terrain, the nature reserve that we're on, as we're aiming to get the most points in 3 rounds, taking 10 turns in total. Now, depending on how bright your camera is on your phone, or however you're watching this, you might notice I'm actually using natural light as well. Okay, so over here, you're going to take your habitat protection and your poaching protection. Everything else can go away, obviously, depending on how many people you're playing with. So you're also going to take the respective colour bag for what you have to. If you're playing on beginner, you're going to take 3 money cubes. Each one represents $1 million. And if you want to play intermediate or advanced, you're taking 2 or 1 respectively. Okay, so I recommend everybody just taking 3 initially. That can go off to the side. You can also use this to show you as a money supply. So you can show that I happen to have 3 in here, these little cards that you can put in here too. And then what we're going to do is decide which person we're going to play as, which specialist we're going to be using. So over the course of 10 turns with those 3 rounds broken into, what you're going to be doing is looking to play the best animals into your nature reserve that score you the most points based on biodiversity, research and other such things. So whoever's going to win the game is going to get an I'm conservation expert at the end, which you can tag on your socials, etc. So of course do like, subscribe, hit the notification bell as well. And everybody playing is going to take a pass hand. So if you're playing as a 3, you're obviously going to have 3 decks. If you're playing as a 2, etc. The game plays a lot like 7 Wonders. It's one of the closest games I can compare it to. Everyone is going to take a conservation card each. These are all uniques. So everyone's going to have a different expert and they let you do a certain ability to allow you to get more money. They might allow you to play cards cheaper, etc. So leave yours off to one side. And then you're going to start thinking about dealing out those cards. Now, there's a species guide as well, so we can see lots of different animals and various different types. So we're going to have some small rodents, there's 18 of them, and they recommend at most, potentially, 3. What that means is some cards need to have lots of small animals, maybe snakes or something like that, in which case you'll only ever need at most 3 of them. You can have more, they can score you points. It's just no other card will need more than 3 in total. That's something to be aware of, okay? So if you want to, you can leave that to one side too. So let's talk about setup. There are various cards that we're going to be dealing out initially for each of the different rounds. We're going to have some action cards. These are things that they can give you. They can give you money, they can allow you to restore things, they can get you some other abilities which improve areas of your nature reserve. Like I said, everyone is different. So we start off with one which has got some great invertebrates and some trees, but not too much aquatic life or ferns or shrubbery, that kind of stuff. So over the course of 3 rounds, we are going to do different setups depending on who we're playing with. So as an example, we can look through this little setup here, and we can see for the first round, we are going to have a certain amount of cards with 1 to 2 players or 3 to 5. So we're going to draw a certain amount of action cards. So everybody's going to have 3 of these. Again, there's 5 different types of action cards. You're also going to take some of these A cards as well and B cards, which you may have seen I had in the box here. So we're going to take, basically these are producers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so they're going to go in their separate decks. And depending on who you want to say starts, basically, that means that you break ties should we do some kind of action, which means we need to do them in order. So we have 6 of those and 6 sort of, let's say they're called simple animals. 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. So we do have some complex animals which come out later, such as a kudu. These are some requirements. If you've played Terraforming Mars or Ark Nova, games like that, even Wingspan, you can see they have some requirements. So right now we've got some shrubbery or some trees, but we need some more trees. We need to get our poaching level and our habitat protection up as well. And that's the kind of animal that we'll be building or having brought into our reserve. And in this case, they have a size requirements as well. So size is interesting because for some things, it benefits us to get like research if we have certain size animals. Okay, so that can go away for the time being. Let me move that out of shot. And now we're ready to begin. So you're going to grab all your cards, again, whether this is going to be player 2. But let's just say we're playing as player 1. So what we're going to do now is look through and see what we've got. So we can get some more rewilding. So I'll show you how that works in a second. Ultimately, rewilding normally costs you $4 million or 4 cubes. But you can basically tuck one of these in. And as you can see, we have now better invertebrates. But let's look through the rest of our cards and see if we want to do it now. So this one is a catfish. So it's going to give you a bit of extra fish. So you just kind of tuck it under there, and now we've got more fish requirements, which is great. So there we are, that's something like that. We can get more fish out. We could get out some more trees, so a certain type of tree. We've got some elephant grass. So those are the A cards, the producer cards, things that are needed to have our animals thrive. But we have a weaver over here. So this does need to get our habitat protection up. We also need to get some shrubs and some trees. We've already got some trees. Over here, we've got some invertebrates already. So again, that isn't there initially. But also we do have some other requirements. So we do need to get up our climate levels. We'll talk about that in a second. We've also got the hyrax, which I've seen in the wild. In this case, we need to get habitat protection up. We still need some more of this out. So nothing too easy initially. This might be simpler. So let's just say this one, the swallow. So we need to get those ones out. Let's just see if there's anything simpler than that. Or maybe the fact that we can see that to build this, we're going to get these cards back in obviously 2 turns, passing it back and bringing them back again. Let's just go for this weaver. So let's play out that wilding card for free, which means we can bring out this card, the double-sided, and play this out. So we now have some shrubbery. So just kind of dig it under there. And now we have 1 and 1. Those cards are going across. Hopefully they're going to come back to us. But also something else we need to be aware of is you're initially going to lay out a number of cards, so 6 cards depending on players. And what you're going to do is you're then going to reveal those cards and draft. Before you do anything else in the game, you're saying which of the big animals that you're going to take. So again, if I'm going first, I'll pick first, and then basically snake draft it back and forth. So I might take the kudu because I've got some trees. They might take this, they might take that. I might get the genet, which again will help me, and then they've got this, and then I've got the cobra. So there's things I can work towards. Again, you'll not get them out in the first round probably, but they're animals which just give you some extra abilities. So basically, now that you've got out some of these larger animals, basically this genet, when it comes out, well, now the cobra can eat it, as you can see, and it's worth a gecko, which could be useful for something else being eaten. So that might be my opponents as well. So those are how you've got your sanctuaries. Cards that you're going to start off with, things that you can work towards. You might want to get out some more, in this case, more trees, as you can see from the kudu. Okay, so now what we're going to do is start playing out these cards. We've played out this restoration card. That is now gone from the game. It's gone into the discard pile. Just make sure you have a discard pile to one side because you can go through that based on some of these cards. And now we're going to get the alternative cards from, obviously, our opponent and play them again. You at most can have 3 cards in your sanctuary, so be aware of that. And then you can start playing them out. So as soon as you can play them out, as soon as you can afford so, then you can play them any way you like in here. But I do recommend for something like this, well, it meets both requirements, maybe stick it over here. I tend to put the birds next to each other. We've now got invertebrates, so that can go here as well. We've got the hyrax, again, that kind of meets those kind of things. Small animals, but that's small, so you might want to move it around. Anytime you want, you can move things around. There's no penalty. There's something else I want to show you, like I said, about moving things around, and that is the research track. So each round, we are going to have some cards out. So we've got 1, 2s and 3s. You may have seen me show you this a second ago. And we're going to have 4 outs. Each round, I've played through all of these cards. We are going to have the treehouse. So animals shown on a branch. And there's a thing like this which shows you whether or not in the appendix, whether it counts as being on a branch. Then at the end of the round, or some point in the round, you can claim it. In which case, if you have 2 animals, you'll get 2 money and 2 points. Or if you have at least 3 animals, you can get 3 money and 3 points. The reason why you might want to claim it early is money is a resource, and it's something which you might have to fight over, which means you might want to go earlier, which means you lose a point, but you've now got money to spend to do something straight away. I'll show you how that works. In this case, you've got reforestation. So again, the amount of trees. So right now already I've got 1 tree, but of course that'd be unfair if I only had 1. So of course now if I have 2, then I can do that as well. So I'll show you how this works in a second. We've got number of animals, so total animals in your reserve, not in your sanctuary. And lastly, we've got number of invertebrates again. So the more you have, the better. And then in the second and third round, you're going to place out new cards as well. And that's how that works. So again, throughout the different rounds, you're going to have different animals coming out. Like I said, in round 2, you're going to have some A's, B's and C's and 3 more of these action cards. You're also going to have in round 3, only 3 action cards and 12 of those level C cards. So I say it does get harder, but like I said, you've built up a lovely habitat to make it easier. So we've also got some money. So how does a round work? So what you're going to do is we've got everything else in play. The round structure is going to be you're going to pick a card and play a card, and that's it. So you choose a card, you play it, and then you can complete research. In this case, what you're going to do is look in your respective little bag, and inside your bag, you'll notice you've got various things. Well, first and foremost, you need to pick who you want to play as. So in the deluxe edition, you can play as 2 things. So we've got an anteater, I think, or a pangolin, and we've got like a hare or a lynx or something like this. and you've got some various counters. If you hit at least 50, which you will do, then you've got other tokens, or some people hit 50 at least. You've also got these tick marks, so you can have 4 tick marks. As I mentioned, as and when you complete one of these, you're going to chuck it on there, wherever you think is respectively suitable. So the rest of these can go back in the bag until you need them. Again, this is for the deluxe edition. And what you're going to do is now say, do you want to complete research? So you've played out a card, let's say we just played out a card, and what you can do now is complete research, which means you can say, well, I've completed one of these things, and like I said, for some reason or another, I've only got 3 cash. Imagine I've got the respective thing. Imagine I do have enough animals in a branch, then I'll get 2 points, and I'll get 2 more money. So you go in here, grab 2 money, and add it to your money supply. Again, I could have waited towards the end of the round, but as you'll see, you'll need money. So what else you also need to be doing is then you can invest your money. You can invest your money over here, for example, using habitat protection and poaching protection. So for example, it's going to cost you 1 million to place one in here, but to go higher, it's going to cost you now 2 million. So a total of 3 million to go up 2 levels. It gets harder and harder. The reason why you had to have done this is for something like a weaver, you need to be playing these out. So you cannot play out this card until you have respective protection. In which case, this kind of card you want to have in your sanctuary until you can bring it out. As soon as you've got the requirements, you can bring it out. There's no cost, no action required. You just bring it straight out to wherever you want on the board. Again, it makes no difference. So in this case, you've got some poaching protection as well. Again, now we're low on cash, so we can't go up to another level. Now there's one other place you can go should you want to. You may have noticed we've got 3 types of tags. We've got habitat protection, poaching protection, and we have climate protection. So you, depending on the number of players, 1 to 2, as long as there's another one, so you're cooperating here, is you can get yourself another level. So as soon as you're up to level 1, so another token's in there. So imagine, I don't know, this was here instead. Now you can get those level 1 guys out instead as well. So I did show you briefly those cards a second ago, but that is something to be aware of. So as an example, we had this guy here. The swallow can come out as soon as you've reached that level. Now, why and when should you reach that level? Well, there's also 3 kinds of awards everyone's going to get. So everyone's going to have a biodiversity award. There's 3 copies of them. Sorry, there's 5 copies, 1 per player. So there's a climate award. So if you've contributed $8 million here, you get yourself 10 points. If you have all of these here, or at least 11 of them, then, which is all of these ones, then you're going to get 10 points into the game as well. So you want to be diverse. And lastly, you want to have the protection award. So as long as you're up to 4 at least, to max them out, you're also going to get 10 points. Everyone's going to have these available. They're all identical. Again, the boards are different, but the requirements are the same. And everyone's got a copy each, so you can always refer to it without having to turn your head around and stuff like that. Okay, so what we've done is we've picked a card, we've played a card, we've completed some research, and now we have invested. So maybe I've completed and then invested. Again, there's 10 turns in a round, so we'll only be doing this at most 4 times out of those 10 turns. And again, you might want to wait before you do it. There's no requirement if I go there, then you can't. No, you can always go where I go as well, and vice versa. Okay, once you play those 10 cards, you're still going to have some cards in hand. They're going to go into the discard pile. So again, if you're playing it with more than 2 players, then again, you're going to have a smaller amount of cards left. But again, they're going to go into the discard pile. We talked about round 2 and 3, or rounds B and C, but 2 and 3 brings out those B cards and those C cards. Again, it's harder to build out animals, but as the game goes on, they become easier and easier to play because you're closer to those tags. So now this one, for example, we have now met this requirement. We do need to get some more cash. So that is pretty much how the game goes. I'm going to keep on playing a total of 30 turns ultimately, and then you're going to see who is the winner. And that is how the game works. Fascinating artwork, great to see some facts and actual information about these animals too. And obviously you've got some various things coming out here. So in round 2, for example, we have got animals that require at least level 2 protection, can again give you some money and points. And for example, one of the 3 cards in round 3 is animals shown at night. So again, it will be something in the appendix which shows you if it's at night, then you can get some more animals. So be very diverse, equaling obviously to what research you have. Of course, you don't have to focus on them. It is up to you, but that is pretty much how the game plays. I do prefer it over 7 Wonders and Ark Nova, Wingspan, and Terraforming Mars. And like I said, the winner is the player with the most points accumulated from the animals. So each of these have got points here. So it's got points going on over here, bigger points over here. Again, nothing counts if it's still in your sanctuary. You're also going to get points from those research tasks, which as the game goes along. Also some action cards, so some of these cards can give you points as well. And again, end game conservation cards too. And that is how the game works. It's smooth, it's clean. Again, it's slightly crunchy, knowing that you need to go for certain things, but it works effectively. And yeah, that rewilding is very nice as well. Again, you can get action cards, which makes things cheaper. But again, once you have played something, that does limit you. Now, sometimes you can complete a certain level over here, and then you can then trigger this. So whilst you do research before you do investment, you can actually then do this, and it does allow you to then complete one of these cards should it occur. Again, at the end of the round, you take your tokens off, you clear this board out, and you go again. Out of about 2,400 board game reviews, I'd probably put this in my top 40 presently. It's I like the drafting element. Again, it is longer than a game like Sushi Go, but I do like the way it builds and the way you are trying to think about what you might need as and when, because I think there's less luck than in some other games, such as in Sushi Go, whereby you can ensure that maybe you could always end up with something which could give you 9 points. This game rewards you for potentially thinking about what you could get in the long term. Again, you might not get it because someone might hate draft you, someone might take a card that you need, but generally speaking, at the last player board, there's a lot of variety going on, and you can't tell the winner till the end because of all these cards that do stack up down here. I have actually completely filled up my reserve, which I don't think occurs that frequently. And again, there is that solo mode as well. But of the 10 different investors that you can play with, that keeps your variety hot. You won't play through all the cards, so the A, B and C stack, you're playing through about 40% of them, so different games each round. Nice Kramer track going on here. I like the way it obviously got the recess boards too. Any questions, please do let me know. The comments are best in YouTube, and like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Occasionally competitions via Linktree, but they are time sensitive to disappear. Check out my photos over on Instagram, and also join the discussion on Facebook and listen to the podcast. But for now, this has been Kavango. Hope you found it of interest. Like I said, really enjoyed it. And for now, back to the table.